Hi everybody, it's Rita Smith, the #1 food fairy, the much thinner #1 food fairy. I've been on the keto diet since February, as everybody who knows me knows and has seen from the photos. I've lost well over 50 pounds, over 60 actually, depending on when you start measuring. I start measuring from last February when I got really serious about this program. And in that period of time, I've developed a series of recipes. You'd be amazed at how fussy and complicated they were when I first got started compared to now. I've got them down to just a very few steps, as few ingredients as possible. I like things I can do food prep for, like this recipe I'm gonna make right now lasts almost a full week. What I'm gonna make today will last for almost a full week. I have some every night. It's my reward for surviving. It's kind of like ice cream, but better, far more nutritious, no sugar, made with probiotic yogurt and fresh fruit and sunflower seeds. Surprisingly not the intuitive ingredients that you would have found over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years when we were told to reduce fat and eat more carbohydrates, and a whole bunch of us got fat and diabetic doing that. I'm really glad to see now the trend regaining balance to the things that we used to eat, like whole eggs and full fat yogurt and meat that actually has fat in it, and a way less refined grains and carbohydrate. I know that in my family, where diabetes is a common illness, my mom had it and lots of the children also have it or have tendencies toward it, that this diet is helping a lot. So today I'm going to show you probably my first and most favorite recipe. I eat some of this every single day. It's a yogurt whipped cream fruit-based dessert, kind of like what we used to call fruit on a cloud, or a kind of a fruit parfait. And I make it in a big batch and store it for the whole week. And I'll get to it in just one moment to show you what the ingredients are into my #1 favorite keto diet recipe. So keeping in mind that on a keto diet, you're trying really hard to reduce all the added carbohydrates that you can. And at one point I was trying to make it to 20 a day. I did it. I got down to 20 a day, which actually meant I was reading the labels on diet gum. You know, some had 3 grams of carbs and some only had 1, and I was buying the ones that had 1. But you're not afraid of fat. You're gonna eat a lot of fat on a keto diet, and very little carbohydrate, so that you're actually trying to put your body into a state of ketosis. There's a ton of excellent videos on YouTube about that, so I won't reiterate all of that, but I'll get into what is in this recipe, and you'll see that there's a lot of fat in this recipe. I have to go back over all my old recipes and apologize for where I was taking out fat. But first and foremost is yogurt, and this is 6% butterfat yogurt, 6% fat yogurt. There's no gelatin, nothing. It's just pure probiotic yogurt, 6% fat. In most grocery stores in Canada, you would see, this is what you would buy. You would buy Astro Original Balkan yogurt, and this is what I started off buying exclusively because I could find it and because it exists and because the grocery stores carry it. God bless them. Astro Balkan Original, without gelatin, 6% fat. Okay, same thing, but this costs $3.99 for 750 grams, and this is $1.99 at ARZ for essentially the exact same product. I've done side-by-side comparisons and recipes, but it's half of the price, $4 versus $2. And since they keep for a good long time, about 6 weeks are usually the fresh dates, I buy them about a dozen at a time. I bother to go to ARZ, which is at, the one I go to is at Lawrence and Victoria Park, and stock up on these yogurts, which are half the price of Astro Balkan. But probably in your grocery store, you're gonna see this, and it's still an excellent deal. Highly recommend Astro Balkan. I'm gonna be using the ARZ comparative product, which is the same amount of butter fat at half of the price, okay? So that's when we get to the yogurt. I'm gonna use a liter of whipping cream, which I will whip with a sweetener. Normally I buy the big tall ones, but this week I could only find 2 little ones. So a full liter of 35% fat whipping cream is gonna go into this recipe. And don't be frightened, you'll actually lose weight eating this. Do you believe it? Do you believe it? Where's this been all our lives, huh? Okay, also in this recipe is gonna be 1 full package of Welch's 4-berry mix. If you've done any research into keto at all, what you're gonna find out is almost all fruit is completely off limits. Grapes are out, apples are out, melon is out. The one exception is berries. You can pretty much eat berries without restriction. And this package has strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries. If I get it on sale, I can get it for about $4.50. If it's not on sale, it's almost $7. But still, again, this thing lasts me almost a week, so it seems to be totally worth it. There are other brand names and there are store brands. The one I can find reliably with 4 fruits that are nothing but berries, all berries, is the Welch's brand. So I'm going to be using that today. Jello, diet lemon jello. Okay, this is sugar-free lemon jello, which I use in a lot of recipes actually to give kind of body and thickness to yogurt or to chicken broth if I'm making a cold chicken salad or something like that. Diet lemon jello, it's not easy to find. I normally get mine in Michigan and bring back a ton of it. But for this recipe, I like diet lemon, and if you can't find diet lemon, you can use diet strawberry. In Canada, I can find easily diet strawberry, diet lime, and diet orange. I don't like really the lime or the orange, but strawberry is okay for this recipe if you can't find lemon. I prefer lemon, and that's what I'm going to use. 2 boxes of diet lemon jello with no sugar. Into the whipping cream, while I'm whipping it, I'm just going to give a good healthy squirt of vanilla because I love the flavor of vanilla. I'm going to sweeten the whipping cream, which then gets combined with the yogurt, but I'm going to put about a cup of Splenda. I'll actually measure it as I'm doing a cup of Splenda into the cream as it whips. So the whipped cream comes out very, very sweet. You're gonna fold it into the yogurt, which has been strained, and so it's not nearly as sweet as you think it's going to be. It's just easier to put the sweetener in the whipping cream and then fold it into the yogurt than to try to stir it into the yogurt. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to put roasted salted sunflower seeds. It gives it a little bit of crunch and a little bit of fiber and a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrates, but not so much that it throws me off my diet. I'll put in a couple of healthy handfuls of sunflower seeds. You could use almonds. You could use slivered almonds or sliced almonds. Powdered almond, that'd be kind of a waste of powdered almond. No, I like sunflower seeds. I prefer them, and they're way cheap. $3.99 for this container. Same container of almonds is $9.99. So I go for the sunflower seeds. Okay, so that's the ingredients in here. I will get to how I mix them all together. There are a couple of little specific tricks to make it easy so that when you're folding it at the end, it goes nicely. And I do want to show you just the technique around straining the yogurt, because this is strained yogurt, which comes out so thick it's almost like cream cheese. You can actually use this filling in a cheesecake if you want. So let me get to what the yogurt looks like after it's been strained and how to do that, and then we'll get on to mixing them all together to make a big bowl of fluffy fruit keto. I'm gonna have to come up with a name for this. I just call it Fruity Fluff myself. I'll see if I come up with something more creative by the end of it. So to begin with, we're going to press or strain the yogurt. Either description is accurate. We're gonna press the yogurt, and this can take a few hours if you've got a few hours to do it, 6 or 8 hours, or it could take overnight. Sometimes I get it started like before the weekend starts on Thursday or Friday, and then I don't get around to making this until Sunday. But it just sits in the fridge straining. Whey is coming out of it, and milk solids are being left behind. I tip it over the sink every 12 hours or so. You'll be astonished at the amount of liquid that comes out. That's the whey running off of the yogurt. And I'll show you in a moment what it looks like when it's finished. But there's 2 purposes to pressing the yogurt or straining the yogurt. One is it improves the texture in the final product. It really comes out like a cream cheese sort of a product, and it makes the final product so rich and so creamy. It feels just like you're eating cheesecake in your mouth or ice cream. It's really good. It's not kind of runny the way yogurt tends to be runny. The second thing is all the whey that is running off, the clear liquid, the whey that is running off also takes away some of the carbohydrate that you find naturally occurring in yogurt. That would be the milk sugars that naturally occur in yogurt, because this is completely unsweetened yogurt, right? The last thing you want to be doing is buying yogurt that has any kind of sugar in it. It's unsweetened, full fat, 6% yogurt. As the whey runs off and you tip it off, it becomes even more concentrated milk solids and fat and less carbohydrate, which is what you want on a keto diet. I am using like this amazing little combination of an asparagus cooker and a jelly bag that evolved in my kitchen. However, you probably don't own either of these two things. Yeah, you can use cheesecloth in a bowl and strain the yogurt that way. And I will put a link below. I actually went through that whole process in my Greek recipes for making tzatziki, how to press yogurt. That I've already done that, and I'll put the link below. So I am going to strain this yogurt in this asparagus container. It fits perfectly. And if I have an overnight or 6 hours, I'll do it for that long. But if I have a day or two, I'll do it for that long, okay? So this asparagus container holds 3 full packages, 3 full plastic containers, 750 grams of yogurt. So whether you're using Astro Balkan or your own store's brand of unsweetened, no gelatin, full fat 6% yogurt, as I am able to buy at ARZ, I can fit 3 of them in here. So that's 50 grams of yogurt. Okay, in it's gonna go, and I will stick it in the fridge and let it strain, pouring off the liquids. You know, I go in the fridge to get something else, get a can of pop or something, and I'll just tip it in the sink and pour off as much liquid as I can. It's straining. Okay, you get in there. I don't want to lie. I want to be able to get a full 3 containers in here. Going to be touch and go, but by the time I'm finished here, this will be only about half full. About half of the volume of what I'm putting in here is going to run off in the whey, the liquid whey, and with that will go a whole bunch of carbohydrates. On a keto diet, you cannot cut out too many carbohydrates. You're basically trying to get to 0, but there are so many naturally occurring carbohydrates in food that you can't even get to 0 if you eat anything that comes from nature. There's one hiding in there somewhere, but you don't have to add it. You don't have to add extra here. Okay, that is 3 big containers of yogurt and a dog barking. Okay, here is 3 containers of yogurt that have been straining in the fridge for at least 2 days, I think. At least 2 days I put them in. And that, as you just saw, this was full all the way to the top and the second set that I did. And this is what remains of the yogurt after all the whey has run off. It is no longer like a liquid yogurt kind of concoction. It is way more like cream cheese. Look at that. Like, that's yogurt. All I did was strain it. All I did was strain it to get some of the whey off, or a good deal of the whey off, and now you can cut it with a knife. You could use this, by the way, this is what I use to make tzatziki. You could spread this on celery, or make dips with it for cucumbers or other things that you do eat on a keto diet. You wouldn't be spreading it on any bagels, but you could definitely be spreading it on some vegetables or anything that you would want to use cream cheese with. And I actually do make a kind of a cheese, well, this whole thing that I'm making right now could be a cheesecake filling. If you made a crust out of ground almonds, which I have done, I just find that so much work. It was simpler just to eat it as it is. But that is what the yogurt looks like when it comes after it's been pressed and strained for a couple of days. It's almost like it's almost like cement. Okay, it's going to thin out when we put all the other ingredients in it. Okay, and I'm going to suggest that you use the very biggest bowl that you own, because gosh, by the time you get a whole liter of whipped cream in here, it's going to take some space to be able to fold it and turn it. So there you go. That's our pressed strained yogurt. So into my pressed yogurt in a very giant bowl, I'm going to dump this whole container, 1.32 pounds of frozen berries, only berries, nothing but berries, no grapes, no melon, no mango, no those other things that tend to get frozen. Okay, that's going to go in there. The juice from the berries is going to make the yogurt a little easier to stir as well when we get around to putting the whipping cream in it. So the diet lemon jello, if you follow the instructions on the box, per a packet of jello, you would put 2 cups of boiling water. However, that's not the instruction I'm going to follow. Per box of diet lemon jello, I'm only going to put 1 cup of boiling water. And I will stir it to make sure it's dissolving while I'm at it. So that for the 2 boxes of diet lemon jello, I'm going to need 2 cups of boiling water. Okay. Stir to make sure that's good and dissolved. And as I said, I use diet lemon jello in a lot of other recipes too. There's a really good cold molded chicken salad that you put in chicken and vegetables and onions and sour cream or mayonnaise, which you're allowed to have on a keto diet, and some diet lemon jello, and it makes a really nice salad that keeps quite nicely, like in lunches and stuff like that. Okay, so that is my dissolved lemon jello. I'm going to pour that into the bowl where the yogurt and the fruit are sitting. The lemon jello actually helps melt the yogurt just a little bit until it starts to firm up again in the fridge. But for a temporary few minutes, it softens the very firm strained yogurt and allows you to kind of stir it in. And in a minute, we're going to fold in the whipped cream, the cream which we have whipped, and you'll see it does help a little bit to have the yogurt somewhat thinned out by the warm jello before you do that, because otherwise you would never be able to fold the whipped cream into this. So I'll continue on with this until I've got the yogurt just about as dissolved as I could get it. Meanwhile, I should have already whipped my whipping cream, and I forgot to do that, so I'm going to do that right now before this gets too firm for me to fold the whipping cream in. So there's the yogurt, the fruit, and the diet lemon jello. So I've got the cream being whipped in my KitchenAid blender, which is awesome because it frees up your hands. And as you can see, I have been pretty much able to thin the very firm yogurt into the warm lemon jello before the jello chills. If you wait too long, you won't be able to do this, because as the jello starts to set, you won't be able to stir anything into it, especially because it's only got half the water it's supposed to have, and it'll set pretty quickly. So I just wanted to show you what that looks like as I move along. It's getting pretty smooth, which I'm happy about, and now I'm going to turn my whipped cream back on, and I will be putting that in momentarily. While the whipping cream is whipping, getting all as fluffy as it needs to get, getting full of air, I'm going to sprinkle in, I'm going to put in a cup of Splenda. Maybe I won't put it all, maybe 3/4, 2/3 of a cup of Splenda, which I buy in bulk, obviously you can see. I like mine to be kind of tangy. I don't like mine to be super sweet. I like the sourness of the yogurt and the berries. But this part of the recipe is whatever you want. Start with a 1/2 cup or 2/3 of a cup. And if that's sweet enough, don't add any more, because Splenda is a little bit on the expensive side. If it's not sweet enough, add some more. This affects the texture or anything. Not at all, none whatsoever. But it will affect the taste, and it's pretty. It's a pretty strong taste. So start with a 1/2 cup or 2/3 of a cup in the full liter of whipping cream, and then mix it into the yogurt. When you've got it all together and you taste it, is that too sour or just sour enough? Tangy. Tangy is the word I would use. Or do you want it to be sweeter? You want your kids to be eating this? Maybe they would like it to be sweeter. Add some more. The Splenda doesn't affect the texture, but it will affect the taste. So that goes into the whipping cream. So I've got the jello, the yogurt and the jello and the fruit smoothed out about as nicely as I can get it. I don't see any big lumps of white yogurt, so that means this is pretty well incorporated, mixed together now. The flavors are marrying. There's no sweetener in there. And I am now going to take the whipped cream, a full liter of whipped cream, which I sweetened with about a cup of Splenda. Okay. And I'm going to fold this nicely into the yogurt. I won't taste it until I've got this all folded in because all the sweetener's in the whipping cream. Okay, so. Oh, and there I am listening to Johanna's music. It's snuck in there with my Christmas carols. That makes me think of Adeline. Okay, so there's all the whipped cream is now in the big giant bowl ready for folding. I'll get back to that just momentarily. So if you've watched my videos previously, I'm not sure I taught you how to fold. I think I did somewhere, somehow. I taught you about folding. But in any case, folding is done gently. You don't want to press the air out of the whipping cream. And it's done with your spatula or big flat wooden spoon or whatever you're using. You try to keep it always parallel to the counter. You don't want to put it in and stir it around like that. That presses out the air. You want to always be turning the stirring implement. I'm using a spatula so that it's parallel to the counter, parallel to the earth, okay, and that is folding in really nicely, and it's got enough, I think, body to it that I can add a couple of handfuls of sunflower seeds without worrying that they're going to sink right to the bottom of something. Okay, so I'm going to guess that I probably end up putting about almost a cup, probably a cup of sunflower seeds in this recipe. Okay. So, and then I will stir these in, fold them in with the whipping cream. And in addition to the Splenda, while I was whipping the cream, I put in about a cup of Splenda. I also gave it a good healthy squirt of vanilla, and I'm going to say it was probably more than a teaspoon of vanilla. It was probably at least 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I love vanilla in everything, so I probably put more vanilla in things than other cooks might, but I put about 2 teaspoons of vanilla in with the whipping cream while I was whipping. You could also use almond extract if you prefer almond. Okay. So the pink color that you see, that's from the fruit. If you use strawberry jello, it would be even pinker. Okay. And I think that is close to as fluffy and as mixed up as I need it to be. I'm just going to get a spoon and taste it for sweetness. I'm going to taste it for sweetness. I like tangy. I hope I didn't put in too much Splenda. No, perfect. Okay. No, I probably could have put a little less Splenda. I like it a little bit tangier. Some fruits are more tangy than others, raspberries being like the most tart, but ooh, that is good. Okay, so now I'm going to find some big containers with lids, and I'm going to put this into the fridge and let it set. You can kind of see the texture of it now. You know, it's a stiff peak. It'll give you, well, a soft peak. I would say it's formed a soft peak. But when it's sat in the fridge for a little while, hour or so, and the diet lemon jello becomes as firm as jello is meant to become, and the yogurt and the whipping cream get firmed up and chilled in the fridge as well. It's got a really beautiful texture to it, nice and thick and fluffy. No different than ice cream, I think you'll find, although it's not as cold as ice cream because it's not frozen, it's just refrigerated. But I can take a pretty good sized Tupperware or Rubbermaid container, and I'm going to get almost 3 full ones of this. This will fill 3 big, oh, it's a Glad container, fill 3 big containers, and I'll just tuck them away at the back of my fridge and let them chill. And then every night this week, for some reason I never eat this during the day, I only eat it at night. I call it my reward for surviving. Every night when I get home and get unpacked from work or whatever it is that I'm doing, I collapse in front of my computer and I have a bowl of this while I'm on Facebook looking at everybody's baby pictures of their beautiful, sweet, brilliant babies, including my own granddaughters, but all the other kids too. That's a thing I look forward to all day, and I have a bowl of this, and that is my reward for surviving. You can eat as much of this as you want. There is no limit to how much of this you can eat. When you first start making it, you go, wow, I'm gonna eat this 3 times a day for the rest of my life because it's so delicious and it's full of fat, but like virtually no carbohydrate. you'll get tired of it quicker than that. I ate an awful lot of it when I first started on the keto diet because it was one of the few things that I could eat without guilt that kind of met all my needs for sweetness, fluffiness, tanginess, you know, the major food groups, and comfortingness, the 4 major food groups. But then as time went by, I just am kind of a bowl a day now. But when you first make this, you don't need to feel guilty on a keto diet. You can have as much of this as you want. It will not harm you. It will not throw you off your diet. Isn't that like amazing? So there you have it. I'm going to fill some more containers here and put them in the fridge and get on to my next recipe. I didn't come up with a better name during this process, so for right now I'm still calling this Fruity Fluff. It is Fruity Fluff, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're not intimidated by making it. This is the only recipe I'm making that's probably a little bit time. You got to be a little time sensitive. You don't want the Jell-O to set. You don't want the whipped cream to sit too long in the bowl. So I did have to kind of skip. I did have to kind of hop and hustle, I guess, to get this made while the camera is rolling. Try it once or twice. I'll put the list of ingredients down below, and now I could do it. I could practically do it in my sleep. And I hope that you get to be that familiar and comfortable with it and the other recipes as well, and that it helps you stick to your keto diet and helps you get to the weight that you're looking for, that your blood sugar is balanced, you're high energy in the morning, high energy at night, and all those things are working for you. Plus, it tastes fantastic, and it's a reward for surviving. So be confident in the kitchen. This is Rita Smith, #1 Food Fairy, signing off and saying good luck with your keto plan. More recipes to follow.
I'm so sick of reality TV. I'm so tired of my girlfriend ignoring me. I sure could use a little